Hello, family, friends, and any listeners that happen to land on my YouTube channel. Uh, I survived a leukemia so far, anyway. Uh, just wanted to have this be video one in the timeline, the very beginning. I did post a broad overview for in the channel, but this is going to be the beginning of the set of the chronological timeline, just so things are easier to follow. I'll do videos that are specific to categories that need a little bit more explanation, like medical insurance, um, the ups and downs of fighting leukemia. Quite a few. I mean, I've got a long list of specialty videos that are going to break away from the timeline. But so basically, if you watch the first video, you're very aware that I was diagnosed July 5th and 6th of 2023 at Fountain Valley Memorial Hospital. But I want to go back a little bit further, just because it's important, the whole process of fighting leukemia. So basically, the previous year, July and backwards, my wife and I had been riding our road bike a lot more, doing a lot of rides, training, doing solving Century, another Century down in San Diego. Just a lot of long rides. The Peloton in the garage got used quite a bit Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, we'd be out doing the road bike on the road, doing 60, 80-mile rides for training all over Huntington Beach, Long Beach, all the way up to the 605 and the 210, up the riverbed trails that are easier because there's no interruption with cars. But PCH was great to ride to. Uh, so we spent that last year. But 4 months before that, I had kind of ballooned up to 283, and that was a bit much at even at 6'4". And I felt it was time to shake it off and get back in the shape. It sucked because bending over trying to tie your shoes, you have to hold your breath. It's eh, you sort of get to the point where so I got to do something about it. So went on a diet for 4 months. It's about 1,500 calories a day. So basically, I went from 283 to 218 in 4 months. No exercise because that lower calorie, you really can't exercise. Your body would be freak out. So lost the weight. Spent the 12 months previous of leukemia riding a lot, getting in better shape. This is very important because I do feel that if I was still 280 plus, I'm not quite sure I would have made it through and being in better shape. It was just something I don't think my body could have handled as bad as it was, especially at the very beginning. So about 3 weeks before July 4th and 5th, um, we just ridden the 100 miler down in San Diego, and I kind of noticed, hindsight, I noticed that I felt very weak. Climbing was tough, um, and downright just it was a struggle. Like I almost couldn't finish, and I'm pretty stubborn about that kind of stuff. Competitive, I guess. And I about a week before the 4th of July, went to the doctors and said I feel sick. Um, and they ran all kinds of tests and just said I probably have an infection, so they gave me antibiotics. Just urgent care. So about 4 days later, it's getting close to the 4th of July. We have friends that come out and stay with us all the time from Arizona because it's pretty fun. 4 or 5 days. Here in Huntington Beach, the 4th of July is a pretty big holiday, given our proximity, and every block has massive professional fireworks. It's kind of crazy. Didn't feel good. Could barely get up. Sleeping in my room. They were having fun going out, and I was just sort of like, well, this blows. So I made it to the 4th of July fireworks, including hang out in the front yard because we don't even have to go see big fireworks shows. The neighborhoods are like insane. It's like professional fireworks for every square block. It's like a competition. Um, and nobody bothered to tell me. My wife and my mother kind of said afterwards, you're really pale and your lips are gray. And I was just like, well, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, well, we just thought you were, fighting off something. And so come Sunday morning, or actually, I don't even know if it was a Sunday or not. I think it was a weekend, but it was July 5th and 2023. Came downstairs, could barely make it down the stairs. And it was, I was like, wow, I'm not doing good. I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to go to urgent care again today, figure out what's going on. But made some coffee, sat down at the dining room table. Everybody was pretty much asleep around the whole house, spare rooms and stuff. Sat down at the dining room table, tried to drink my cup of coffee, and it just burned. It was hot, but not hot. My mouth was extremely reactive, my teeth, everything. Um, then I kind of felt like I had bit the inside of my cheek, and it, was all kind of swollen and rough, textured. So I went to the bathroom, downstairs bathroom, and pulled open my cheek, and there was a huge blood blister or blood clot. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was like the entire inside of my right cheek. So I was like, there's probably something pretty wrong. Seriously wrong. So I texted because I couldn't make it back upstairs. So I texted my wife and called her and said, Kim, can you come down here and look at this? And she came downstairs. I showed her, and she pretty much grabbed the car keys in her wallet right away and says, we're gone. So kind of yelled to the friends because they were leaving that morning, packing up, heading back to Arizona. And she took me to not the emergency room, but the urgent care. And the doctors took one look at me with my arms and my legs showing a lot of petechiae, basically, blood coming through your skin. And then looked at my inside of my cheek, and they were just like, you've got to go to the ER. And doctor was like, what ER are you going to go to? We're going to call them right now. So we picked the Fountain Valley Memorial, which is on Brookhurst. It's only 10 minutes away. So we went back to the house really quick to tell them that, we're not coming back. Sorry. And they were fine. They were packing up stuff, but I couldn't even get out of the car. I was just leaning up against the window. So Kim came out, took me to the Fountain Valley. She feels kind of bad because she parked in the parking lot and I walked over to the ER. And, once we kind of found out she was kind of kicking herself, which nobody knew. I mean, nobody expected this. It was kind of a complete shocker. Or like I would say, a kick in the nuts.
I'm sorry, Sam Winchester.
Sorry? Sorry for what?
But walked in, the front person right away just said, are you Paul? They must have described me, but there were like 20 other people in the waiting room. Went in, gave her the information. She said, go over there to the blood draw station. We need you to draw your blood right now. And it's all in the area, the ER entry room. Did that, sat down, and then a couple minutes later, someone came out from another hallway, and called me and put me in a chair, actually, and took me back. And there were these portable chest X-ray machines in the hallway that looked very new. And so they did a chest X-ray. And then I went back, sit down with my wife in the waiting area. And then they called us into the admittance person that takes all the information down and, gets everything right. Then I came back out. All of this was probably 25 minutes, really. It wasn't that long. Like, ERs are not always expeditious or, it's painful to go in there. Then I sat down 4 or 5 minutes. Someone came out from the back area where the ER actually is and was calling my name and just said, "We need you back here immediately." So my wife and I went back there, and as we're walking back there, I'm just looking around and I see people in beds in the hallways with curtains around them because they're not in the rooms. And I mean, literally, there were like 6 or 7 people outside because there were no rooms. So they actually took me in and put me in a room, and actually was there for all of July 5th and 6th. Uh, but as soon as I got into their room, they put me up on up in the bed and stuck the needles in me, and they were running like 3 huge bags of IV hydration bags. So they're like 750 mLs each. My body just soaked them up in like an hour, all 3 of them. And then, of course, that much you're taking in, I was peeing like a racehorse. So, you know, nothing better than peeing in those big old plastic jugs in the ER. Then came the transfusions. They'd already typed my blood, so they had to do hemoglobin transfusions and platelet transfusions. Those were the first two up that were really important. Platelets actually more than anything because my doctors were telling me that my platelets were unmeasurable, so the machine can't measure below 5. uh, any normal person, male or female, 150 to 400, and is the normal platelet measurement. And pretty average is 200, 250. And platelets are basically like when you cut yourself and it seals up. That's what that does. Platelets seal your wounds, seal your blood from going through your skin, seal your blood and your organs so that it doesn't pass through stuff like liquefied. Um, so they did that. They did the platelet first, and then they did the hemoglobin next, and then they turned right back around, and they had to do it again because everything was so low on me, and I was basically sepsis also. So all in all, it wasn't. I was in and out of being mentally functional, and just kind of there, not there. The second round, though, when they did the platelet, I had an allergic reaction, which is I'm told common. But I was in there with just my wife, and my right eye started swelling shut, and my throat swelled shut, and I was having trouble breathing, and my whole face was burning on the right side. It was all right side local. So they pulled it really fast after my wife went and got them, tell them, and then they came in and they gave me instantly IV Benadryl, liquid Benadryl, and to help with the allergic reaction, which made it go away like within 5 minutes. But the one thing with Benadryl, it makes you sleepy. Well, IV Benadryl, I was out. It might as well have been like a narcotic or something for surgery. I mean, I was done. I was out. I don't know how long. I'm just glad I didn't like piss myself in the bed because I was out. Um, and Then we spent pretty much that whole day, July 5th, talking with some of the doctors, and they were basically dropped the news on me that they need to do a bone marrow draw, but they are pretty certain that I have leukemia. And when I heard that, it was just sort of didn't even register. Um, my wife was in there. Um, I think my mom was gone out at the time because they were in the room. Kim had called my wife, my mom, and they were in there sharing the duties and the responsibility, and everybody freaking out. But it just didn't even register. Leukemia equals cancer. It was like, and then it just started kind of settling in, and like I said, it was just up through my gut. Like I just got kicked right there, right in the nuts. And then then pretty much the next that night, and then on July 6th, also it was just spent trying to stabilize me and keep me from going out, taking the dirt nap. So um, I ended up getting a room on July 6th that night. But it wasn't upstairs in the normal rooms. It was in a brand new wing that was like a birthing center, a new birthing center in Fountain Valley. It was just kind of funny, but it was like beautiful. I mean, I was just like, they're wheeling me in. It's like the room was super nice, full on bathroom with showers, intended for mothers that, gave birth and they were going to be there for a little bit. Um, but they're wheeling me through, and it says right over the door, not neonatal, but it says something about yeah, babies and and I just looked at my wife and I said, "You did tell him I'm not pregnant, right?" And I was laughing, and she wasn't. So I was trying to keep some kind of humor because at the end of the day, the whole year process is really kind of one of the few things that kept me positive or just not completely freaking out all the time. I pretty much went in there into that room, and then that was 7/6. So 7/7 in the morning, I had my first biopsy, bone marrow drill. They actually did it more in a surgery room, and they did put me under. So I didn't feel a thing. Even once I got out, laying in the bed, I was like, it barely even hurt. I just had to keep pressure on it for a bit. Um, then spent that day in there, and then only one day though. Then a room opened up in the normal hospital upstairs, and they took me up there, and that's pretty much where I was until 7/14, July 14th. A lot of those days were spent getting used to the doctors and the nurses there, specifically. I would call him, they call it the hospitalis, but I call him the generalist. He basically takes care of everybody there, but his knowledge of cancer was above a normal, just generalist doctor. His name was Dr. Gahan. First name was Kajhaka Kumar, but he just liked to be called Dr. G. So, people can pronounce his name like I can't pronounce his name, but he was very good. And then they had a rotating specialist that wasn't on staff, but would come in and consult on cancer, specifically leukemia. He had a bunch of specialties, but his name was Dr. Vu, Dr. Colin Vu. So between those two doctors, the discussion was treatment options, treatment places, like where do I want to go. And they recommended like City of Hope and Downey. Up for me, that's up to 605, close to the 210. UCLA, USC. They even recommended, like, of course, MD Anderson in Houston, which is globally probably the best, if not one or two, ranked in the world. And then there was one place in New York too, and I was like, I didn't even listen to that one. Can't remember the name because I was like, I'm not going to New York. We're talking a year and a half, just not going there. And even City of Hope, they have apartments there. You'd have to go live there and get the insurance to approve it first. When you're outpatient, there's just too much back and forth. Everyone thinks you're inpatient, getting all the chemo treatments and everything, and they're like, "Aren't you glad to be out as outpatient?" Yeah. First couple trips outpatient after chemo rounds, it was brutal. I had to come back every day to across the street where I ended up, uh, and I couldn't walk. Like, it was tough. So at the end of the day, I said, you need to give me a couple of days to research this. There's got to be something in Orange County. And then finally, the generalist doctor at Fountain Valley said, well, there is UCI in Orange. And I was just thinking, Orange? That's like 30 minutes away. And I was like, why didn't you recommend them? And it's just said, well, it's a really good up and coming program. They're like number 26 in the whole nation as far as cancer treatment of various types, and specifically leukemia. But he said it's a teaching school. So sometimes there's a lot of fellows that follow the doctors, and younger doctors that are just following the primary doctors as teaching, right? So he just said that sometimes people that are fighting something as serious as leukemia or cancer, they kind of want privacy. Um, but I was like, that kind of doesn't bother me. Even once I was there, it didn't bother me. It was never overwhelming. There was only one time where I had a huge crew in there, and it was basically a doctor, three fellows, the nurse practitioner, uh, and the wound care specialist, and the pharmacist specialist. Also, it was like it was insane. I was just like, okay, and they're all inspecting me, and that was the only time I ever was chuckling about it and telling them that, normally I sell matinee tickets for this large of a crowd, and everyone laughed, but that was the only time. So once I decided where to go, of course, the health insurance, everything had to be approved. So the case manager at Fountain Valley walked through everything, um, and told UCI Orange that I wanted to go there. So it wasn't like a room was just going to open up. So this is long term stay. So I had to wait for a room, and it was like 6 or 7 days. So basically, I didn't get discharged out of Fountain Valley and get a room until Friday on 7/14, July 14th. And that whole time was spent basically just blood work like every 3 hours, no matter what time of the day it is. And they were watching me like a hawk and giving me, whatever transfusions that I needed, hemoglobin, platelet, magnesium, potassium. Uh, I can't even remember them all. It was kind of crazy. But you know, uh, once I got a room, uh, it was great. Just kind of a relief because basically the Wednesday before that 7/14, July 14th, a Friday, the doctor's saying, we can't wait much longer. He goes, we can wait like another 5 or 6, 7 days at the outermost, but you're going to have to pick a secondary location. So it just, that, day and a half later, I got a room. So it was very, very relieving as far as that, because it makes it easier um, for everybody involved. My wife, my mother, everyone locally, that back and forth is uh, not murder on you, and is term at long term, long drives late at night, early in the morning. I just needed to be a little closer, and honestly, they had a good enough reputation, so I didn't see the problem in it going there. Um, so, um, but there is so much to deal with and talk about during that whole period. Uh, you know, my wife, we had to go through like in the bed, like I'm trying to have a brain, and be able to think. But everything you can imagine, everything about the house. I paid all the bills, so I had to go through everything, list everything that's auto pay, things that you had to pay yourself, and just stuff that she was going to have to deal with. And man, she's incredible. So at and the other categories she had to worry about insurance. Here come the bills rolling in. It was crazy. Our insurance is really good. We had a PPO preferred. It was like an 80/20 as far as payment, and a very low out of pocket. Well, pretty much low. It was $4,500 in a year, which basically for me it was like two of the doctor visits, and that was it. So, but it's the amount of money you got to pay out of pocket still, and unexpectedly, back and forth, uh, more car gas, just all the expenses skyrocketed as far as our output. So, and then Kim was like a hawk with all the bills from the insurance companies. It's absolutely crazy because this particular book, this is like a daily log of everything that happened, shorthand, basically, notes. This is the book of every piece of treatment that I had at Fountain Valley and at UCI Orange. And it's probably got stuff that needs to be added, but it's huge. And then there's a massive accordion file that is only for all the insurance bills, and it's by month. And it is full, to say the least. All I can say is to anybody that has this issue, do not pay the bills until you know for a fact, because there's so many problems between the hospitals and insurance companies in billing and not getting in time and then double billing. And just like it's a back and forth process that is absolutely insane. It would drive people mad. And if I had to do that piece alone while I was sick, let alone with keeping up with all the meds I had to take, I I, I don't think it's possible. So people that are this kind of have this kind of illness, and you know, the support, the family support, and the friend support, it's unmeasurable. So, but I just I'm going to take this up to the point of me getting into UCI in Orange to begin the treatment, and I'll pick that up at the next video. And I'm just trying to keep them, you know, not super long. But and I'll, like I said, I'll have a lot of videos that are outside of the timeline, and you'll be able to tell that they are, because I'm going to label this video one. Any one of them that are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the chronological ones, and they'll have a name on them, but at least know that outside of that, other ones, there'll be ones I talk about only about the medical insurance, um, only about the impact to the family, especially since I had twins at the time. They're 16 years old now. They're 17. Isabella and Tate. Um, Impact to my wife. Her taking a lot of time off from work. Everything. What needs to happen when you take time off from work? What's covered? There'll be a lot of little side stuff. So thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, I'm sure you can see that you can send stuff to me, as far as questions. But things are going good now. So, long story short, you'll hear about more of it. But the stem cell transplant, the chemo was good. It didn't knock it all out, though. And so we moved into the basically stem cell transplant. But I don't want to give up too much. So we'll leave it there. And thank you very much. Talk to you later.